These are my new improved version of my Corvo kits, my standard length version and the extra long version. And what I went ahead and did is I did a redesign, and instead of focusing on what I did before, which was minimizing build volume to keep costs down at all costs, what I went ahead and did is I thickened up a lot of the parts, which allowed me to strengthen all of these pieces, but it also allowed me to hide all of the connection features and rail features from this middle tier here, making a nice smooth transition between the two sections of the blade. For those of you who haven't seen, I have an extra long version. The only difference between these two is basically the stretch distance. This default version, the handle is the right length, about 2 hands, but because of physics, the blade ends up being a little bit shorter than it does in the game, and so this is where the extra long version came in, where the handle's about 3 hands long, 2.5, but you get the nice long blade that pops out and completely fits back into the handle. So those are the two versions. Like always, if you head over to my Etsy store and you pick up either one of these two, you'll be picking up the new improved version. You can also head over to Shapeways and pick up a kit if you want to build it yourself. Now, because the kits are a little bit different than my original versions, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through putting them together again right now. These are the 8 pieces you'll receive with your kit. You get the main body and its associated 4 little fangly bits. You get the main lock, or the kind of handle. You get the first tier and you'll get the second tier. Now, connected onto this second tier, you can see if you clip off with a pair of clippers, is actually the 9th part, which is connected so it doesn't get lost, and that is the tier lock, the one that handles these 2 pieces. Now, if you get the XL kit, the pieces will look surprisingly similar, only these 4 pieces will be longer, like so. But other than that, the assembly will be exactly the same way. So, putting together this kit, you go through the same preconditioning steps, so to speak, as all my other kits. The first step is cleaning off all the powder. And what you do is you basically put these parts together, you move them around, you clear everything out using a toothbrush, so you get rid of all the excess 3D printing powder. So the next step is to use your drill or Dremel with a little paper clip piece in there, and all you have to do is clear out a series of holes. Now you can see there's one hole here that goes right through this second tier. Yeah, like so. You have a hole here that goes through this section here on the first tier, and then it has a mating hole that goes together right here through the tier lock. The handle has one hole that runs all the way through this pin here, like so. This piece has a couple of holes in it. You can see there's one long hole that goes right through the middle here in 2 kind of chunks. And that's what the handle hooks onto. And then you have a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes in these areas here that match up with holes in your little fangly bits. So you clear all those out, and then you should be good to start test assembly. So for assembly, things are slightly bit different from my older kit because this is the new improved version. Now, for the main body, the handle, and the fangly bits, everything goes together the same way. You simply line things up and push paper clips through them and trim them off, so that way they are all proper and good to go, like so. So now the construction of these 2 pieces is a little bit different from the previous kit. You have a hole here that you've cleared out, but you also have a set of holes here and here that go through this piece. So what you need to do is take your blade tip, slide it into the blade base, and line those 2 holes up. And then what you need to do is cut a piece of paper clip somewhere in the range of about 6 millimeters to about 6.5 millimeters. You need to take that piece of paper clip and you need to, through these holes here, insert it into the blade tip. And then simply press that so that it's centered between the 2 pieces. Hopefully that's in place. It needs to be set a little bit more, and you can use a paper clip or tools to press it down to get it nice and centered in that piece. Once it's in there, what you can do is move these pieces back and forth, because you can see you'll be clearing out some more powder when you do that. Now the next difference is how you get these 2 pieces into this main body. Now it used to slide into the top and then you added some pins down here, but for the sake of simplicity, those have now been removed. So all you need to do is take this piece, set it in the top, and slide it halfway through. And then all you got to do is grab here and squeeze. And just like that, again, you'll be clearing out some powder, but you can see now it locks at the extended position and it closes all the way down and stops down here at the bottom. And then all you have to do for the finishing of your test assembly is to go ahead and put on your main lock, and if you really want to, you can even stick on some of your fangly bits and make sure that everything is working. Now the last little bit you'll need is down here on this section. You're going to need this piece. Now the first thing I need to do is clip off this extra gate vestige that I no longer need, like so. And then all I have to do is pin that in right there. The next thing you do is take one of your orthodontic rubber bands and simply hook it over these two sets of kind of hooks back here to activate this little lock back there. You should be able to see just like that, that now with everything closed, it's locked. If you point it up, everything will fall down and lock once again and pop out, and everybody's groovy. So with that, you can go ahead and disassemble it, and you can go ahead and do your finishing. Now, for disassembly, obviously because the kit has changed, disassembly has also changed. So you do your same process, you pull out your pins, make darn sure you remove this pin here, and get this part out. Now, since these parts are kind of snap fit together, you might be wondering how the heck do you get them apart. So to disassemble these two pieces, what you'll need is a business card, and you'll need a thin flathead screwdriver, and that's it. So all you need to do is take your business card, press everything to the side, and put the card in between the plastic rail and the wall. So that disengages one half of this rail system. Then all you need to do is take your screwdriver, pry it open a little bit with your fingers, aim about halfway between this notch and the end, and then all you need to do is carefully press this out, and you'll see that the second tier will actually slide a little bit forward, and then all you got to do is push out with your finger, and that's it. You can now disassemble that. And again, remember to remove this piece before you disassemble it, otherwise it's going to get stuck trying to pull it back through. And the last little thing you got to do is just take another little piece of paper clip, line up your two holes, and go ahead and press out the pin that's holding these two pieces together. So at this point, once you have everything disassembled, what you can do is if anything wasn't running smoothly after you cleared out all the powder, you can go ahead and sand down these parts with 220 grit sandpaper to make sure everything's going to be nice and smooth and is ready for finishing. Once you've done that, go ahead and I'm going to use some Pewter Rub and Buff, and I'm going to coat these parts pretty much and almost entirely in a coat of that. So once everything has a good coat of your Pewter Rub and Buff on it, the next step is to take some acrylic black paint and paint the sunken sections, and then also maybe water down the black paint a little bit and do a little bit of distressing. So next up, I'm going to take some silver Rub and Buff, and I'm going to do the edges just to highlight the kind of sharp and scuffed parts. So the next stage, you can either skip this next step and move on to assembly, or what you can do is using your choice of vinyls and a good strong double stick tape. This is 300 LSE. You can go ahead and just like applying foil tape, you can apply whatever you want to these sunken sections. So I'm going to do some wood grain. So you can see I've applied my vinyl, and then I went ahead and I actually took a little bit of black paint and I just touched up the edges to nicely blend the transition into the wood grain. Next thing you need is a piece of fishing line. I've went ahead and tied a knot here in the end of one side, and you can see there's a series of 1, 2, 3, 4 holes that are in the back of this part. You may have to have actually cleaned them out before, but go ahead and put the fishing line through top hole, pull it through, come back up and through the next hole, pull that up, then go through the next hole, through here, and then very simply the very last hole and pull through. And now what you need to do is tie a knot. Go ahead and give yourself a good bit of distance, maybe like, oh, I don't know, a ½ inch to an inch here. Plenty of room where you tie your knot. Go ahead and pull that nice and tight, and then cut that off at a reasonable distance away from the knot, and then simply grab this loop and pull up on it, and you can see this is where your thumb will go, so you can do your fun little spinny things like so. Now all you have to do is do a full reassembly of everything. And so with that, you can see I've put all the pins back in, everything's reassembled and works just the way you would expect. And if you find that your little fang pieces tend to drift, what you can do is put a little dot of hot glue in here, and it acts as kind of a rubber bushing to help hold these guys open. But other than that, that is one completed Corvo Blade version 2.0.